BA, Ryanair, and easyJet strike when our airline staff strikes passing this summer? Cancellation, detainments, and hours-long ranges are formerly having a necessary impact on a summer trip across Europe. Broad job and pay cuts during the epidemic are before the importance of dislocation. But it isn't just passengers that have been affected by staff dearths as now. Unions across the assiduity are calling for strikes over working conditions. Europe's low-cost airlines are likely to be among those worst affected by the forthcoming staff strikes. Last nanosecond cancellations and general disorganization at easyJet have indeed led unions to claim crew members face a serious safety threat, reluctantly working on days out to help further dislocation. So what do we know so far about the airlines and airfields which could be impacted by strikes this summer? When are Ryanair workers striking? Ryanair staff are planning to strike across a number of European countries in June and July. In Spain, cabin crew unhappy with working conditions and pay are walking out on 24, 25, 26, and 30th of June as well as on 1 and 2nd of July. Crews from Portugal are also demanding better working conditions for staff and will be on strike on 24, 25, and 26th of June. Trade unions in Belgium say they've been forced to take action as Ryanair isn't esteeming labor laws. As a result, they're planning to walk out from 24 to 26 June. Brussels Zaventem Airport formerly had to cancel all departing breakouts on Monday during action from security staff. Italian staff has called for a 24-hour strike on 25th of June, joining their associates in Spain and Portugal. And in France, unions have hovered action on 25 and 26th of June with several airfields anticipated to be affected. When are easyJet workers striking? easyJet cabin crew grounded in Spain will go on strike for 9 days in July, according to the Unión Sindical Obrera USO. They will walk out in 3 phases from 1 to 3, 15 to 17, and 29 to 31 July just as the summer vacation season thresholds. Flight attendants are protesting a low stipend, demanding a 40% increase in their introductory hires. USO says it represents around 80% of the 450 easyJet staff grounded in Spain and hopes to reach an agreement to avoid strike action in the first place. When are British Airways workers striking? British Airways BA, ground and cabin crew suggested last week whether to back artificial action over stipend. Unite, a union that represents around 000 staff who work for the UK airline, says there was a 97% maturity in an exemplary ballot about strike action. It added that thousands of educated workers had been dismissed during the epidemic, leading to a deficit of check heft, lading, baggage running, and cabin staff. Around 700 BA ground crew working out of the airline's main mecca at Heathrow have now blazoned they will walk out in the coming month. No dates have been verified yet, but the unions will have to give the airline 14 days notice, meaning the foremost that could take place is the 8th of July. Numerous of those who suggested the strike were low-paid women. They're demanding that the airline reinstates a 10% pay cut assessed during the epidemic. When are SAS workers striking? Around 000 aviators from Denmark, Norway, and Sweden's flag carrier, Scandinavian Airlines could walk out in late June over stipend and cost-cutting measures. They're presently in addresses to try and help the artificial action, but Danish aviators could go on strike from 24 June. They may stay until 29 June when Swedish aviators will be suitable to join them as they're limited by original regulations. Where differently are aeronautics strikes taking place this summer? After walking out on 9th of June, causing a quarter of departing breakouts to be cancelled, ground staff from airports to Paris are planning further action on 2nd of July. The company operates both Charles de Gaulle and Orly airfields in Paris. The action is being coordinated by several French unions and could cover all staff at both Paris airfields, including the security labor force. They're demanding a general payment increase of Euro 300. A French aviators union has also called for a one-day strike to protest what it claims are the mounting safety pitfalls of adding capacity during the busy summer season. Alter, which represents just over 10% of Air France aviators, has planned a strike on 25th of June. Air France and its low-cost arm Transavia say they don't anticipate any dislocation to their flight schedule during the action. Cancelled breakouts, situated spurts. Airlines struggle to meet demand in the chaotic summer trip season. Airlines and passengers are suffering through a chaotic post-pandemic phase that has seen the assiduity struggle to deal with surging demand, leaving numerous passengers unhappy about everything from the prices of their tickets to aggravation over whether they'll reach their destination. Demand for breakouts has surged this summer to situations not seen since before the epidemic. Transportation Security Administration (TSA) data shows 2.45 million people passed through the nation's airfields on Friday, the loftiest single-day total since February 11, 2020. Yet this demand is being met with a deficit of inventories. Airlines have exfoliated millions of seats from their summer schedules, which will push prices higher. They've delayed and canceled thousands of breakouts, and hundreds of spurts remain situated despite the high demand. Some lower airfields have lost marketable breakouts entirely. Passenger affairs on Friday antedating Father's Day and Juneteenth nearly broke epidemic records, but the same day airlines delayed further than 900 U.S. breakouts and canceled nearly 500 others, according to FlightAware. Explanations for the struggle run the diapason from an airman deficit, high energy costs, and indeed extreme rainfall. The craziness has attracted the attention of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who met with airline directors last week. Buttigieg's department said on Thursday that complaints about airline service were over more than 300% in April compared to the same time in 2019. Demand is as strong as we've ever seen it. People want to get out there and travel, American Airlines CEO Robert Isom said at the company's periodic meeting before this month. The key is just simply sizing the airline for the coffers we've available. Airlines entered billions in encouragement bonds from the civil government to save their payrolls during the epidemic, but companies still resorted to withdrawal buyouts and hiring freezes as demand sank, aggravating what numerous in the assiduity viewed as a being airman deficit. As flying demand now returns, numerous airlines say they struggle to attract aviators, leaving hundreds of airplanes foodling with no bone to fly them. The Regional Airline Association estimates airlines would hire further aviators if they were available. Marketable carriers are now denting, slipping in the last 6 weeks a combined 5.66 million seats from their U.S. departure schedules in July and August, according to data participated by Flight Data Incorporated. We don't have enough aviators to fly all the airplanes, United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby said at a Senate Commerce Committee hail in December as the airline sidelined 100 airplanes. American Airlines said before this month it would also situate 100 airplanes due to the airman deficit. Numerous in the assiduity point to high walls to enter the assiduity. The Federal Aviation Administration requires aviators to fly hundreds of hours before they work at an airline and authorizations withdraw by age 65. A prophet for Sen. Lindsey Graham RSC, told The Hill he's considering introducing legislation to raise the withdrawal age. But the Airline Pilots Association ALPA, the world's largest airman union, transferred its members to meet with lawgivers on Capitol Hill before this month, pointing to numbers showing the country has lately returned to producing further PUCA aviators than before the epidemic. The United States is producing a record number of aviators, yet some are still trying to claim we need to weaken aeronautics safety rules to fix a problem that doesn't live, ALPA President Joe DePete said in a statement. Airmen groups combined with ALPA have set up success in recent weeks in using airlines' need for labor, with numerous negotiating substantial raises. Numerous airline workers are complaining about working long hours and passing further last nanosecond barters. Workers are averted from fluently going on strike under civil regulations but have raised their disgruntlement in other ways. Alaska Airlines aviators suggested overwhelmingly simply authorizing a strike last month. Delta Airlines aviators last week penned an open letter to guests. Southwest Airlines off-duty aviators picketed in Texas. Regional carriers, which operate breakouts retailed by major airlines from lower airfields to larger capitals, have been some of the most hopeless to retain aviators. Airmen unions at 3 indigenous carriers wholly possessed by American Airlines, Envoy Air, Piedmont Airlines, and PSA Airlines, lately blazoned contract agreements that include significant pay increases. Rick Wilson, Envoy Air's vice chairman of flight operations, told The Hill that the airline is primarily having issues with losing to larger carriers its captains, the first in command on airplanes who face stricter conditions. Wilson said the indigenous airline this month agreed to increase new pay rates and give aviators a fresh 50% decoration for 2 times, which comes after Envoy was losing 80 aviators per month. Since we blazoned these, we've formerly seen that launch to dock and decelerate down, Wilson said. So we're veritably hopeful that what the structure we've gone to is going to help us to retain those aviators in the future, rather of losing them to some of these other carriers. Regional Airline Association President Familarki Black told The Hill that beyond pay increases, policy changes are demanded to increase equity in the hiring channel, like right-sizing pupil loans and expanding training pathways. Pay alone isn't working this problem because it doesn't address the underpinning walls to career access, Black said. People without wealth can't go to train for this career because pupil loans don't reach the cost of an airman's advanced education. As indigenous airlines work to increase their airman counts, numerous have resorted to cutting back service to lower airfields. 43 airfields will lose further than 50% of their marketable service in the alternate half of this time compared to the original period in 2019, according to Flight Data, Inc. Some have lost marketable breakouts entirely. American Airlines blazoned on Tuesday it would drop its indigenous service to Dubuque, Iowa, leaving the field with no other marketable carriers. The cutback marks the fourth indigenous field that has lost all its marketable breakouts since late 2019, according to Flight Data, Inc. Richard Howell, the administrative director of Williamsport Regional Airport in Pennsylvania, told The Hill that the field lost its marketable service in September. Howell said he believes there's now strong enough demand for marketable service to return, but airlines so far have declined as a result of high oil painting prices and the airman deficit. As long as those spurts are in the desert, requests our size are going to be challenged to bring service back, Howell said.